Hi, I am Annette Tarpley, and I'm the founder of Passionate Poetry. This is Pop Chat, and today we have the lovely Gina Carrillo with us. Welcome, Gina. It's good to have you.
Good morning. Thank you so much. Happy Sunday Fun Day.
Certainly, Sunday should be a fun day, shouldn't it?
It definitely is because I'm usually off on Sundays.
Oh, that is definitely your fun day. So, just a little reminder to remind the guests, and I might have to do it more than once, that if you make comments, please sign your comments unless you have changed your settings to identify you. Otherwise, you're just a Facebook user when we're live. So, Gina, why don't you tell me a little bit about you? Whatever you want to about yourself, career, job, self, poetry, writing career. Tell me about you.
Sounds good. So, I'm Gina Carrillo. However, I am the Black Widow. I created the Black Widow a couple years ago when I started performing, and I got more into the Gothic attire. I've been writing since I was 14 years old. Started with a diary, and that evolved into poetry. I kept my poetry quiet for about 22 years. Then during the pandemic, I started working from home and indulging more in my passions. My loves is painting and poetry. And I started working on my book. I always wanted to write a poetry book and get it published. And then I wanted to be a spoken word artist. I published Kaleidoscope, which is my artwork on the cover as well. I do
Woohoo!
impressionist acrylic on canvas. This is a huge painting. It's hanging right beside me, actually. So this book is on Amazon and Barnes & Noble websites. It has 83 of my pieces in it. It's my first collection. I'm very proud of it. So that was exciting. And then I started doing virtual events and Zoom lives. And then once everything started reopening back up, I started performing. And that's been over 2 years now that I've been consistently performing. I also created a crew. We're called the Prodigal Poets. And there's about 22 of us now. And we all perform together weekly around Nashville and surrounding cities.
That is great. We'll have to talk later. I've been trying to do something locally, and I just can't seem to get anybody to do anything. I actually started a meetup group that's poetry, and anytime I say get together or anything, nobody ever responds. It's very weird. So maybe I should start another group called Active Poetry Group.
Yeah, so I started just going, besides the Zoom and virtual events, I started going to the live events, and that's where I met all these other writers and authors. And then we started just getting together on like group chats, and I was calling us the Tennessee Poets, and I was like, we need a name. And so we like voted on a name, and it was in between Mouth of the South and Poetic Justice and Prodigal Poets. I got outvoted. I wanted Poetic Justice, but I love Prodigal Poets. And then we came up with a logo, and then it kind of just evolved from there. And we talk pretty much every day, and we share all the events going on. So they're all performing poets that we met all at every event we went to, and we just start recruiting
I
friends
wish I
to
wish I
join us.
lived closer. I would love to come. I really wish was
I
closer.
know. You have to come
So
visit.
I have to.
We
I
do have a
know.
lot of poets that come and perform with us from Australia, from Maine, from
And
Alaska,
it's in
all over.
Nashville.
In Nashville. Most of the shows are in Nashville. We
I'm
do.
trying
I
to
have.
figure out how far Nashville is from me.
You said it was about like 6 hours. You're in Virginia.
I'm in Roanoke, Virginia. So
Okay.
I was trying to figure out Nashville. Nashville. Well, if I could spell, it begins with an N. Nashville. It is 6 hours away.
Okay,
So
that's not bad at all.
yeah, that's a weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll be off Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. So there you go. What day of the week do y'all do it?
Well, there's really shows almost every single day. So you can
Wow.
pick and choose what show you'd like to do. I have gotten us some paid gigs throughout the year. So, but if
Wow.
it's not a paid gig, there's a lot of free open mics you can go to. You can also get a feature if you'd like. Besides our show, there's the Galaxy of Poets, Poets Playground, and Nashville Po' Boys and Poets. And they all have events. So does Gestalt Poetry. So there's a few different groups that have different events every month.
That's cool. I wish we had something like that here. Let's see. We got a couple comments. What we got here? We have somebody says congratulations. Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
don't know who you are though. Sorry. Congratulations again for this literary discussion. Thank you. And we have welcome. And we have hello everyone watching from Toronto, Canada. So hello from
Yes.
Canada.
Love
So
it.
do you find that poetry is your passion?
Poetry is my life. I feel like I am a poem. I've written poetry about I'm art, I'm poetry. It saved my life. I don't know where I'd be without it. With everything I've been through. So I write primarily about domestic violence, overcoming deaths, and beating stage 3 breast cancer. So
Wow.
poetry has
Wow.
really helped me get through everything that I've dealt with.
Well, kudos to you. You're an inspiration for others.
Thank you
Truly,
so much.
truly. That's remarkable. And I love that you're right. I've written a lot about domestic violence too. Haven't been, part of the physical part as much as emotional, but I was a forensic nurse examiner for 15 years and dealt with hundreds and hundreds of victims of domestic violence. So, and then witnessed some as, growing up as a child as well. So it's something that's near and dear to my heart as well. So I've written quite a bit on it. But it's good that you do that. It's wonderful. Um, I so what would you say is your style of writing?
So I can be classified as a dark artist. I say I'm kind of like Edgar Allan Poe Jr. He's one of my heroes, one
Do
of
you
my
say
favorites.
Jeanette? Edgar Allan Poetess Jeanette?
Yes. I also love Shakespeare as well. Yes, but I normally write, I mean, the subject matter is more darker, but it's also more motivational, inspirational, kind of me coming through, kind of like a phoenix rising from the ashes. This is the new me, and I'm creating myself how I've always thought of myself and couldn't be because of my binded past.
Yeah. Yeah. And at some point, we worked through a lot of stuff through poetry. That's what got me into poetry too. I'm getting divorced, ticked off poem that everybody said, "Oh, you got to have that, published." It's the only one I know by heart. Well, no, I know three by heart, but it's one of the ones I know by heart. It's my
Oh,
therapy as I was
can I hear
driving.
one?
You want to hear it?
Yes.
It's long. It's 3 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to try it. So if I falter during it, please forgive me. It's called Broken Dreams. A love that flourished so fresh and new, a man who promised to be loyal and true. My heart I gave you to hold and to keep, arms they once held me as I went to sleep. Lips they merged, holding steadfast at night. The morning then dawned and the sun did grow bright. You promised me you would love me for a lifetime, you said, or vows now spoken, for the life together ahead. The love in the marriage was so wonderful and bliss, but soon I realized something was amiss. You grew so cold, and your touch I no longer felt, and a love once true soon began to melt. A flame that burned so hot and true was now growing dimmer, it no longer grew. My heart you held once near your own, the house where we live is no longer a home. Soon I watched as you grew distant and cold, and wondered, will we be together as we grow old? Promises once spoken, love whispered in my ear. Come a bit closer and let me make this clear. You are no longer a man I yearn for. You are not a man one should love and adore. True love and respect were never part of the game, and once I realized this, things were never the same. A man of honor, integrity, and truth you claimed to be. But then your true colors showed through, and I began to see. None of these things ever were you. It was a picture you painted in a fairy tale you drew. The love in the marriage could no longer be saved. Love and time, these things you no longer gave. The marriage was a sham I could no longer see. The man who once loved me was to no longer be. My beauty, you indicated, was a passing thing after promising me forever, always with a ring. That is pretty, you said? That is me? How superficial and shallow can you really be? It's the exterior you look at, not the person within, and then say goodbye to us as you widen your grin. Through the years, methodically, tried to lessen my worth. But I'm so very strong, and I'm giving birth to the me that I lost who once walked this earth. And new me it will be that I soon will unleash, a woman whose inadequate self esteem will now cease. Never again will I allow another man who dictates, another man who withdraws affection or alienates. I will no longer mourn that man I thought you to be, for you were never that man. This now I see. A strong woman I am, with beauty and grace, a woman who loves and looks beyond the face. Never again will I allow another man to define the wonderful person I am, who's faithful, true, and kind. Ideals, they once existed. They turned to broken dreams. A life appeared shattered, but is not what it seems. I go forth with confidence in the midst of new dreams, dreams full of happiness, life that starts anew, embracing each day and following it through, to live my life as I wish from now on, the key factor being that you are now gone.
Woo!
Mm.
I love that. I was tearing up. I was about to cry.
Well, thank you. But that was my therapy. Driving on the road, love the flourish, the fresh and new. So it was my therapy. And when I wrote that, he was still in the house, and
Wow.
and then I read to him. He said, "Here, let me read this. After all, is this you inspired this?" And he just stood there with no expression on his face.
Wow, you got to read it to him? Oh my
Yeah, yeah.
gosh.
And then he had no expression on his face. So I said, "So why no feelings? I mean, a month ago you were telling me I was your everything. I was the only one that completed you," which of course I knew wasn't true because the actions didn't go behind the words. And he says, "I have divorced you hundreds of times in my mind through the years."
Oh my gosh.
So anyway, he's what got me back into poetry. So there you go. But share a couple of yours with us.
So I have to do my domestic violence piece. It's kind
Please.
of empowering like yours. This piece I wrote a little over a year ago about domestic violence. It's called There Are Still Holes in the Walls. There are still holes in the walls, one above my bed from where you threw something at my head. There was one in the door that you punched so hard the frame cracked all the way down to the floor. It's still not like before. It will never be the same. All because you got caught in a lie. You wanted me to die. I would stay quiet and just pacify. I would crawl into a ball and make myself small. You tried to drown me. I still have bruises from it all. And the words you spewed sounded like they came straight from Satan. I do not fear the devil because I already dated him. You used to ball up your fists and yell and spit. Poison seeped through my skin. Acid permeated within my body. The pain pervaded and I was intensely hurting within. Years passed by and your tormenting grew worse. I forgave and I tried again and I wanted to see the best in you. How do you go on without trust? I felt like I was stuck in the mud with Stockholm Syndrome, trauma bonded to you. When I opened my mouth, I couldn't shout. I dreamt of getting out. This is a poem that hurts to write it. I could barely get through it. And abuse is not a strong enough word to describe it. But I'm finally able to see through my tears. I overcame all my fears. You tried to clip my wings and put shackles on my feet. And I looked out the window and I hoped of flying again. But I starved for your red flags like they were a bouquet of bloody roses. Now my PTSD haunts me like a past life. I survived. There are still ashes floating around from where you tried to burn me. But like a phoenix, I rise. These scars and cracks are now filled with gold. I'm stronger now, and this is my story to be told. When I tried to eat, you would knock food out of my hand. But yet you were like a creature attracted to my light, like a parasite. You tried to suck out my flame to fill your hollow emptiness you had inside. And it seems like you kept coming for me, just reincarnated yourself to look differently. I finally decided I had enough. The cycle finally has ended. I came out on the other side. I'm getting used to lower tides. You could not rob me of my sparkling existence. It still shines brightly. Although there are still nightmares of you that terrorize me nightly. When I wake up, I remember I'm happy and free. Wings spread wide. I now stand tall. I got through it all. And I left that one hole in my wall to remember to never let my heart fall like that again.
Wow, that was marvelous. So, you know that by heart.
Yes,
Girl?
it took me hundreds of times.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it, I know. I only know three poems by heart, but I know that how much it takes. You just have to recite over and over and over and over again. But you do it so well. You're a very entertaining poet. I can see why you go places and even get paid in some places. I'd pay to come see you. So
Oh, thank you so
yeah,
much.
it's wonderful. It's
That means
marvelous.
everything to me.
Yeah, we need to have that poet retreat this year.
Yes, a lot of the prodigal poets are really interested in it.
Yeah, if I can get people to really, you know, really commit to it, it's going to have to be a shared event. Last year, I was able to try to flip the bill by myself, and then people didn't, show up. But I'm not in the same predicament financially, so I can't flip it. But I'm getting places that aren't very much. So, if you get 10 people and you split something that's
Right.
even $700 or $800 a day, that's huge. It's not very much. So we'll have to. I'll look into that.
Yes.
I'll really start getting serious, maybe even after this because I get excited. But Stu said, yeah, Stu said let me see. Good afternoon. Sorry, late. This is Stu. Congratulations, Gina. Thank you, Stu.
Thank you.
And Stu wonders how many times I have recited that poem. Oh, Lordy, God only knows. But and beautiful with your poem. So thank you very much. So so what do you think that we can do as poets to help others who are coming into this arena and want to become a poet? Any kind of advice that you have to give to them regarding writing?
So on Wednesday night, we went to a writer's night at the Lindbell Library. It's every Wednesday night for it's Poetry in the Borough does it, and that's like a writer's night. And so there was I think 15 of us, a couple on Zoom. If you're not in Tennessee, you can still join, and you can read a piece, and then the other writers, give you feedback on it, bad and good. So a few new writers came to that. There was 4 prodigal poets there. One writer asked, I have an idea. What do I do? How should I write it? And we were just you just need to start writing. Like Francesca Kirkpatrick, you know her, I'm sure. So she ripped out a piece of paper and was like, here's a piece of paper. And then I threw a pen across the room. I was like, here's a pen. There you go. Start writing. You at least need to just start writing so you have something to work with. You can edit it later, revamp it, all of that. But you just need to just have a time where you just sit down and write. Some of our thoughts just can't be quiet. So a lot of times I wake up at 3 a.m. and I'm writing a poem and I have a new poem by the morning. But I'll be driving somewhere. I might need to pull over or stop to write it down because it really irks me when I have something in my head and I forget it and I lost it. I'm like, man, I lost that. That poem was going to be brilliant.
I actually have a poem that I made called "Please, Officer, Forgive Me" because I've been approached for sitting in a parking lot, writing poetry. So it's like, "Please, officer, forgive me. I had to pull over. I had stuff in my head, kind of thing." So yeah, I have yet to be able to read it to somebody. Usually it's me falling asleep and then they're like, "Are you passed out?" No, I'm tired. So
oh my gosh.
yeah, I have a sleep issue, so I only drive when it's safe for me to drive.
Oh
So
goodness, I hate driving. I get sleepy when I drive too. I don't
yeah.
like driving far.
So I love I love that. So you write short stories too?
No, mostly poetry.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I
So your
have
writers group, is that all just poetry?
no. There's novelists there.
Okay.
A lot of writers do short stories, and there's also poets. So
Yeah,
anyone that
I'd
wants
like
to
to.
write that can come.
You'll have to hook me up with that later. I need to get into that kind of group because I want to write a novel on the Ballad of Ned. It's about bullying. I just went to my grandson's school and handed out 200 books on Friday. He helped
Oh
me
wow.
co-wrote my children's book. I hand out 200 books to the kids, and so I read the book, but then I also recited my poem, "The Ballad of Ned," which is about bullying, which I think is important, and that's what I want to
Yeah.
write my first novel on is that poem. Yeah.
Wow, that is very important. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
So, share with us another piece.
Awesome. Will do. So this next piece I'm gonna do is called Bewitched, and it's one of my favorites to perform. It's an enchanting, motivational poem about witches. Fear not the witches, but those that burn them alive, jealous of them taking power from the earth without poisoning the soil. More entertaining being the magical enchantress than the helpless princess who couldn't toil, although widowed, talking to animals and alone. However, embodied with the power of a sorceress, call me a necromancer, watch me sparkle outside with pride. Curious on how I dress, it's the true me, not to impress. The words I write, wanting to gain some insight, asking me if I might be. A complex hex left you perplexed. They tried to drown us while worshiping God. Will not be put down. Head held high with a flower crown, dancing under the pale moonlight with those that fill my heart. Prodigal poets tribe, consistently giving me the breath to keep on. Can you hear this enchanting song? Insides formed from the sands melted together from when I was scorched at the stake from those that wanted to take bewitched wounds sewn together with dark thread she devil stitched. Made a new life for myself while embracing haunting nightmares. Will you wake up scared of what you did? It will not be hid. Come for me again. Hear sounds of a screaming woman that can't be submerged. Shadows cast of the southern skinwalkers from the woods emerged. Just misunderstood. Moonlights of those eyes glow in the dark, battle axe, arrows of defense. It all makes sense. Such a sight to be seen. From the darkness emerges the queen. Let those realize inside the past storybooks all have lies. This world is full of monsters with friendly, judgmental faces that go to church on Sundays. And there are colorful haired angels with tattoos and scars, wearing eclectic clothes, gravitating close to those. This may be the day that you learn I'm the descendant of the witch you weren't able to burn.
Love it, love it, love it. So, yeah, that was great. I loved it. I think I could watch you all day perform. You're so entertaining. I wish I could be that entertaining when I recite.
Oh
But
goodness, it took me years. When I go back and look at when I first started on the virtual lives, I was like, that's terrible. Oh my God, it's so bad. So just
yeah,
watching other performers and taking bits and pieces of what they were doing and just incorporating it. And what do I like watching? I like watching theatrical. I like watching poets that dress up or that have props or that are animated. So I just try to incorporate all of that to be the best Black Widow I can be.
you did good. You did good. When you're reciting that, I couldn't help but think about the witch trials and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Did that enter your mind at all when you wrote that?
Yes, I wanted to write a piece that I always felt. So I grew up highly religious, and I wasn't able to color my hair or my nails or get into tattoos, and I kind of became inactive in my late teens. But then when I was going through multiple abusive relationships, I still didn't have a sense of self, and I couldn't be me. And so just the past couple of years, I've gotten into, what does Gina like? I like more of the dark arts, and I like the Gothic style. And so I kind of delved more into that. And then, I wanted to write a piece that gave them a tribute, because if I lived back then, I felt like they would have thought I was a witch. I mean, I'm a widow. I wear a lot of dark clothes. I live alone. I'm with my animals. Like, they would have thought I was a witch, and I'm magical. So I had to write a piece about it.
You're magical. I like that. Yeah. So, I love that. Yeah. I like kind of finding out, where somebody's head is when they write. So I like that a lot. I think that a lot of us have been disillusioned by, um, religion and so forth. So, I mean, myself, as I was growing up, I had my own things. I consider myself spiritual, but not so religious as far as, doctrines that are man-made and so forth. So, so tell me a little bit about Gina. If you could describe yourself to someone, or someone was describing you, what would they say?
They would say I'm an optimist, I'm a bright sider, I'm happy all the time, or I seem that way. And I'm just living my dreams. I'm just living my best life.
Good. You seem, yeah, and you have a very, just a very sweet spirit. You can feel it from you. So I love that about you.
Thank you.
So if you won $1 million tomorrow, or uh, got inherited $1 million tomorrow, what would you do with it?
I'm helping out my family and friends first, and then Prodigal Poets are going on tour. We're touring the world.
I keep wanting to do a cruise, a poetic cruise. I keep wanting to do one. One of these
That
days,
would be awesome too.
Yeah.
Well, I am going. I have a show in Michigan, and I'm gonna perform in Chicago in April.
Oh, good for you! Bravo!
Thank you.
Bravo! I am proud of you, girl. That's wonderful. So, where are you performing in Chicago?
I'm still working on getting that together. I've connected with like multiple poets out there. So April is a poetry month. So there's going to be a lot of shows going on. So I'm trying to see if there's one on the days I'll be there. If not, they're going to create one so I can feature at it. And then Michigan, I'm going out with my family. They're thinking about moving out there. So we're gonna be with the realtor and look at houses. And then I have cousins out there that are writers and performers. So there's going to be like 4 of us, and we're going to be featured at the show in Michigan. That's in Sterling Heights.
Yeah, if we have that poetic retreat this summer, maybe we can have you teach us how to do what you do, perform.
Thank you.
You can maybe teach us all how to do that. That would be wonderful. But you do marvelously. So, is there any topic in poetry that you feel like is off limits?
I do not. So I recently wrote a piece. It's called "My Poetry is for Me," and then kind of one that went with it called "Outcast," because you'll have some people be like, "Well, I didn't relate to that piece as much as your other pieces," or we have. I say art is kind of like, it's in the eye of the beholder, and poetry is in the ear of the beholder. However, I write for me. My poetry is for me because it's therapeutic and stress relieving. And if you enjoy it and can relate to it, I love that. I want you to love it too. However, I'm going to write pieces that I need to get out. It's like bleeding on paper. So that's why, there's certain pieces I write more about. I write more about beating cancer or overcoming death or abusive relationships, because that's my trauma that needs to come out, and it comes out through my poetry.
Yeah. Now, your pieces seem to be longer. So, how long does it typically take you to write a piece of poetry?
So it depends on some of my historical. I have different historical pieces. Like I have a Native American piece about the true story of Pocahontas. I have one on Holocaust. Those may take me a month because I'm doing a lot of research
Research, yeah.
to get kind of the facts together before I put the poetry together. But some pieces I've get tagged in a lot of picture prompts or word prompts or photo challenges, and then it gets them stuck in my head, and then that kind of comes out, and that kind of comes out faster, and I might write maybe 2 of those in a day.
Right, right. Well, that's amazing. I always like to know people's creative process and how they write. So, when you write, are you physically writing, or are you typing, or how do you typically write?
I do physical. I like having physical copies, and then I put it in Microsoft Word on the app, which that has the voice where you can write it on your piece of paper, read it, and then it'll type it out by the voice, and then you can
I did
edit
not
it,
know
and then
Microsoft
it
Word
posts
had
it.
that. I did not know
Yes,
that.
that's a lot easier. Or I'll just use the Microsoft Word app, and then I'll copy and paste it into social media.
Very good, very good. So go ahead and share another one. I probably am going to wear you out today. How many do you have memorized? I want to know how many you have memorized.
About 7, but there's about 5 that are just really good spoken word pieces that I switch up at most of the shows I do.
Yeah. Well, I'm amazed because I know that they're long, so it takes a long time to, I think if
Yeah.
my one poem would have been my therapy, I never would have been able to, remember it or memorize it. So,
Yes, I do.
but
I record it. I record it and then listen to it, and then I practice walking around the house, and then I practice with distractions because you never know your audience. And
yeah,
sometimes they'll be really interactive, and you want to make sure you don't mess up. So I'll practice with music on, or I'll practice with something loud in the background. So make sure you can
yeah.
do it
That's a good
with
idea,
all of that.
actually, that you do that. So when you record, are you just doing an audible recording, or are you doing a video, or both?
Just Audible on voice memo. I have an iPhone, so I just do it on the voice memo and then play it back.
Very good. Do you have stuff on YouTube?
Yes, I have multiple performances on YouTube and different podcast interviews. If you just look up Black Widow spoken word artist or my name, it'll pop up.
Great, great. Well, share with us another one of
Okay,
your great
so
poems. Thank you.
I will do Disturbed. Disturbed is about Frankenstein. It's also about how I relate to him and what I went through beating stage 3 breast cancer, which I am 5 years out now, cancer free. Disturbed. Silent raindrops fell like tears outside the castle. I'm aching for you. Whisper away my anxieties. Imagine hearing you in my head. Darkness consumes, fire burning, foggy fumes. Thoughts of a better life breaking through my skin. Experiences I want to have more. They're talking about me, town people knocking at the door, not understanding my needs aren't that demanding. Looking on to broader horizons. People try to kill what they do not know, also try to bring back alive something that had died. Don't create me, make me feel so real, then turn your scared head. I'm undaunted. I wasn't the one that wanted to be brought back, haunted. Not like this. Now they wonder about how I act. This isn't what I thought. Can't blame me for how I react. Your experiment was unsuccessfully simulated. Still some unconscious flesh not stimulated. This operation not quite like the illustration. Raised from the dead, there are crevices in my soul that can't be sealed with a kiss. Mended memories of my past remain. This new life is just not right. What others experience is just not the same. Raised up with the tragic lightning, my appearance now very frightening. Who could love such sorrow creatures with bloody, messy features, just painfully stitched together? Is there someone out there like me? Finding them would calm my fears. Wishing with these franken tears, just hoping and dreaming. Sometimes I'm concerned. Will I ever really learn? I'm just a zombie walking, limping to the side, still talking about this strange new world. Inside, internally perturbed, unsettled, and just disturbed.
Wonderful. Love it. Love it. Love it. Could watch you all day long. Got to memorize. Apparently, you have to memorize more than 7.
Thank you so much.
You have to do more than 7. So, what do you usually do if someone is critical of you or your work? How do you respond, or how does that make you feel?
So I usually say haters should make you feel good because they're talking about you. All attention or publicity is good publicity. So I did.
It's a
I
good
mean, I've
way to
had,
take that. Yeah.
and I mean, I've only had a few, maybe like 3, say something. Oh, that didn't relate to me, or because I did it from a female point of view, and it was a male who was kind of like against feminism or something, and I only react to positivity. I had a couple other haters on a reel about my Native American piece, and one of them was like, well, you should do something about the Holocaust because that wasn't as long ago or something. And you know what? I did. That inspired me to do a Holocaust piece. So I take it and turn it around. If there's haters, I also did a troll piece. There was someone trolling my friend and bullying her. So then I turned it around and I did a troll piece. So they actually inspired me to do more pieces.
Yeah, it really does. I wrote a piece called it's not a rhyming piece. It's called "The Answer Is No." So it's basically kind of a feministic thing about what I will or will not do. The answer is no. And somebody had written, well, what is the solution? So then I wrote "The Answer Is No" with solutions, which is really good. It actually talks about relationships. It's really good, but he still wasn't satisfied after that. He kind of hounded me. I ended up having to block him finally. It's like, what do you want?
Yes,
I gave you the solutions.
I usually don't interact at all. I just
Yeah.
block them because, again,
Yeah.
I react to positivity. So unless it's positive, I do not react.
And that's why I actually started POP, the Passion of Poetry, is because of negativity elsewhere, and I decided I'm going to do a group of positivity, and where we just are positive. So and then if people who aren't positive they get kicked off. So I mean, it's just the way it is. If you can't be supportive of each other and come together, as a community, then you know not good. We have a couple of, let's see, Stu wrote, I have watched Black Widow several times. Stu. Hey,
Yeah.
Stu.
Hi,
Who
Stu.
knew? I thought I was your only muse. Optimistically happy-go-lucky. Yes, she is.
Thank you.
Sorry I'm late, but we don't know who you are because you didn't
Thank
sign
you
in.
for coming.
And then we got for you, wow,
Oh,
awesome.
thank you.
You got the wow factor. And not only do you just have one wow, you have 2. So that's wonderful.
That makes
That's
my day.
wonderful. Yeah, it should. Um, so I just, you're such an inspiring, writer, and your life. You've toughed it out and you've made it through things, and you are the phoenix that rises above the ashes. So that's very, I think, inspiring, not only to women, but to people in general, that you have that inner strength. And despite all obstacles, you have still remained positive. So that's kudos to you. It takes a big, strong person to do that. So it tells me a lot about you, and that you have a lot of strength. So I love that. Somebody called me beautiful and honorable. Well, thank you. Don't know
You
about the
are.
beautiful, but I'll take the honorable. You are my only muse and Mac. That is from Stu.
Oh,
I
listen
should
to
still be.
Stu. He's smooth.
He is. He's a smooth player. Plus, he's an admin on my team, so he's just smoozing me. I think. Yeah, yeah. No,
He sent you
gotta love you.
roses.
Gotta love you some Stu. Stu's been through a lot himself and has overcome it. And Stu's like not. I just found recently, Stu, just like you are an artist in needlework. I've done some needlework, and he showed me these pieces he had, and he's done hard pieces because I know the designer. So it's amazing what
Oh,
Stu can
wow.
do. Beautiful interview and nice insight. Well, thank you very
Thank you.
much. So, you are going to be a superhero and you can have any power you want. What power, superhero power, do you want?
Teleport because I love to travel.
Teleport. Boom. You're
I want to
there.
teleport around the world.
That's a good one. I think I like that too. Teleport like that. Yep. Good one. All right. You want to grace us with another poem?
Yes, I
Please?
sure will.
All right. Thank
So the next one I will do will be Widow in the Dark. So this is a piece um, about death and experiencing it through dreams and nightmares. I have dreams that my husband is still alive and I just feel so wonderful and in love. And then I have nightmares that I know he's going to die and I'm trying to warn him. My husband passed away in 2010 due to sleep apnea. He was 27 years old. And he was my best friend and true love and soulmate. And that was 3 months after my father passed away due to alcoholism. So that was a very rough time in my life. And I wrote a lot. Poetry really saved me. And I wrote a lot of pieces that are in my book, Kaleidoscope. So this piece is called Widow in the Dark. Dreamt of you again. Seemed so real. Intimacy relived. Warmth of an embrace. Seeing your face. Feeling your skin. True happiness within, reaffirming that you'll never leave. Please stay, always there, yet I'm deeply bereaved. You will only remain in my hourglass, bits and pieces of diamond like sand, glistening like stars in the night sky, twinkling, always reminding me why I'm left grasping onto a memory, and it is slipping through my hand. Keeping ashes and silver jewelry, once always worn every day. Heaviness still fills me in every way. Past pictures put away now. I'm unable to look at them for long. I just don't know how. It still hurts too much when I hear a song and such. Looking at quotes on a windowsill. Still feeling an emptiness inside. Overwhelming constant rain on a daily life. Tears are hard to contain, keeping it together, moving forward, trying to sustain, remaining just a widow in the dark, weaving webs to comfort the loneliness inflicted, imagining at times that I'm not injured. How much could a soul withstand? There's a tragic prolonging, questions consume, eating away inside my head. Why am I left alive when you are dead?
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that one's deep. So, your husband died of the same thing I suffer from. I have a horrible problem with that. So,
Oh, goodness.
for years, I'm still having problems. One of the reasons why I have insomnia and I don't sleep much because I'm scared to go to sleep. Yeah,
It's very scary.
yeah. So that's sad. Was he diagnosed with it before?
Yes, he did the sleep study. He needed the surgery, but sometimes it's hard to get a man to go to the doctor.
Yeah, it is. It is. And
Yeah.
well, I'm sorry that that happened to you because you probably weren't even married that long. I don't imagine.
We're
What
married three
happened?
years, but we were best friends 7 years. And we
Yeah.
have a great love story. It's in the book. when I first met him, he said, "Oh, we're gonna get married. You're gonna be my wife," and we ended up just being best friends for years until we kind of evolved. But yes, so check out Kaleidoscope, and you can read our story.
I will purchase it. So it's on Amazon, right? It's on Amazon.
Amazon and Barnes and Noble websites. I
Oh,
also have a new book out, Poets United. That's my painting on the
woo!
cover too.
Yay!
And this is a collaboration with Eric Shellman. He's a poet that I met through Facebook and Instagram, and we have multiple collaboration pieces. And we wanted to make a poetic anthology with mostly collaborations with other poets. So there's
Oh,
51
nice.
poets from around the world in this book.
Wow. I'm just we're just getting ready to publish our pop anthology. Comes out this
That's
month.
exciting.
Over 100, probably 120 to 130 poets I think are in it. So yeah,
I
it's
love anthologies.
yeah.
I think I've been 17 since the last year.
I don't even know how many I'm in, to be perfectly honest. I'm in a lot. I always say a sack like this, I don't know. Big
Well,
sack.
next time let me know so we can be in one together.
Yes, girl. Um, so, I was sitting here thinking yet another thing, because you already talked about, that you had cancer, you had domestic violence, and you're a widow at a young age. And, sometimes I'm always amazed that people, in life, some people get knocked down, knocked down, knocked down. They get back up, they get back up, they get back up. And other people get knocked down and they stay down and they don't get back up. And they start, paths of self destruction. And, I just got done working for 3 months at drug rehab, inpatient center, drug rehab. It was a big thing of mine to make people know that they had importance, they had purpose, because they don't think. And I always would encourage people to write. There's actually a poem on YouTube called "I'm Your Addiction" that I wrote with a patient who said, "I'm leaving. I got to start using." I said, "Let's go write," because I knew she said she was a poet. So we wrote this
Wow.
poem together. But where do you think your strength comes from? Is there someone in your life that a parent or a friend or someone that you would say has had a great impact in you as far as making you a strong person?
So my relationships with other people are the most important thing in my life. My family and friends. I have a friend group from high school, and we're a close knit group, and they were there for me through everything. And then my mom, she's been there for me as well. She's helping me even like edit my book. And then this week she took my paintings to a restaurant to be displayed. So she's been really just supportive of everything I've done. And I couldn't have got through it without my friendships, my friends and family. I also um, created that group that was more beneficial to me by cutting out all the toxic, unhealthy relationships in my life. I believe I got cancer through trauma, by being in an abusive marriage or abusive relationships, by being bullied at my job. Both of those things together, I believe, created the cancer that grew inside of me. And then now, because I cut out those relationships, I stood up for myself. I'm not being bullied anymore. All my friends and people around me are positive and motivational, and they're successful in life and just supportive and encouraging and loving. And that is why I'm now 5 years cancer free, and I'm going to continue keep doing what I've been doing so I can stay that way.
Very good, very good. That's great, and that you have those kinds of people in your life. And I told you that I wrote the poem, "The Ballad of Annette," about bullying, and that's what I want to write my novel about. But bullying does continue on into adulthood, and where do kids learn it? Really. So it's sad that that happens, but good that you're resilient. I think that's important as far as being able to cut off the toxicity in your life. You can't let others bring you down. if they're on the downward slope, you don't want to follow them. So
Mhm.
I have this saying that I posted yesterday. I always say this, that smart people learn from their own mistakes, and brilliant people learn from other people's mistakes. I tend to be more smart than brilliant. I've had to learn a lot from my own mistakes.
But we do have a lot to write about, though.
Yes, yes, makes for good writing. So let's see. We have beautiful interview and nice insight. I think we read that
Yeah.
before. And then we got writing and prayers. Only thing to pick me up. I love the poem. I'm your addiction. Okay. And then amazing woman. Yes, you are indeed.
Thank you.
Yes, you are indeed. So, is there anything in particular you would like to say to poets out there as far as continuing with their journey, following their passion?
I'd like to say, penance up, keep writing. Remember, it's for you. Write about whatever you want to write about. If you want to get it out there, just start. You have to start somewhere. Jump on the stage. One of our prodigal poets, she was an Instagram poet. I was like, what are you going to do? Just be an Instagram poet? Get on the stage and perform. And she ended up doing that, and then ended up being published. And a collaboration we did went to like the Philippines, and it's just really helpful to you. It's healthy. It helps you get the trauma out. It's stress relieving, therapeutic. Just keep it up. Keep doing you. It just
Yeah.
feels good. And then you may get addicted, like me, to performing. And then you're like, I got to hit the mic. I got to get on stage right now.
Well, I wish I could even get something going, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But our time's come to an end. But I really want you to know, Gina, that what a marvelous person I think you are. And I have great admiration and respect for you, and love your poetry, love your spoken word. You are a true artist and a joy. And we are blessed to have you within our community. And I thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you and for you to share your work with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me on. I love what you do. I'm glad I caught Saeed Khan's interview the other day. He's doing amazing things with the Glory Future Foundation.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy we connected. And I hope me and you can collab or go on vacation, travel.
We're
There's
gonna
big
do it.
things to come.
We're not gonna say we're gonna think about it. We're gonna do it. So we're gonna get together and we'll do some stuff. Thank you so much, Gina. You're lovely. Love and blessings to you. Love
Thank
and
you.
blessings to everyone who
Love y'all.
watched us today. And happy holidays. It's that time of year.
Yes.
Bye. Bye. Good to see
Bye.
you all. Thank you, Gina, again. Take
Thank
care.
you. Bye, y'all.